We have another insane episode of WandaVision on our hands today with episode 8. It was another great episode. I absolutely loved it. But of course, spoilers are ahead. We're breaking this thing down in depth. But this episode was mostly a flashback episode. It really explored Wanda's life. It really did a deep dive on all of these moments in her life that we've heard about, but we never really got to see until now. So I really love seeing that. But we actually start off the episode with a flashback for Agatha. And obviously it is in Salem, Massachusetts, 1693, where they were doing the witch trials and everything. And Agatha is on trial actually by her fellow witches for practicing the darkest magic. And her mother and all the other witches are basically trying to destroy her. But Agatha is too powerful. So basically, in their attempt to destroy her, they ended up killing themselves, so they're all dead. And then Agatha goes over to her mother and takes her little pendant thing, which is something we've been seeing her wearing this whole time in this series, which is something that a lot of people picked up on. And I don't know if it's going to mean anything or if it's just like, hey, that was her mother's, so it's just like a cool decoration. But that was a nice little explanation of how she got that. I was wondering if they'd do that. But then we flash back to present day where we left off last episode, where Agatha has now cast a protection spell on her basement in her little lair there. So Wanda is basically powerless. She cannot use her powers. And, Agatha is like explaining all these different spells and stuff, and Wanda has no idea what she's talking about. And this is obviously set up for when Wanda does eventually learn how to do all these spells. She'll probably learn from Doctor Strange, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then Agatha, of course, doing a classic villain spiel, just, going on about everything she's done. And how Pietro is not the real Pietro. So she didn't just bring his body back to life and for some reason it looked different. No, because his body was still in Sokovia and he was full of bullet holes. So she doesn't explain where she got this body from. So I suppose it could be a Quicksilver from an alternate universe. This could be the Fox X-Men Quicksilver. But I'm thinking more likely it's probably just some random Westview resident, or maybe even Nicholas Scratch, Agatha's son. So that's what I'm thinking there, but again, we don't really get a concrete answer, and we never even see him in this episode, not even in the post-credit scene. But Agatha, we really learn what she wants her. She sensed this place of Westview after Wanda created it, and she basically just wants to know how Wanda created it, but not even Wanda knows how to do it. So Agatha goes on here demonstrating her power. She turns the cicada into a bird and then feeds it to Senior Scratchy, so rest in peace, little bird / cicada. But then this is where Agatha starts taking Wanda through her memories, and this definitely reminded me of like a Christmas Carol type story where the three ghosts took Ebenezer Scrooge through his past, present, and future, and that's basically what Agatha did here with Wanda, except they didn't go to the future. That would be cool though if they did that. So the first time in Wanda's life that we go to is when she's a kid along with Pietro, and they're living in Sokovia, and we get to see her parents, Oleg and I forgot her mother's name, but a lot of people have been theorizing that the two people that we've been seeing in all the commercials were her parents, but they're not. They're just some other random people. And we basically see how she got into sitcoms here, because the family always sat down and watched American sitcoms to try and learn English. And Wanda's favorite is Dick Van Dyke, which was a huge influence for the show, especially the first 2 episodes, and they actually got advice and the help from Dick Van Dyke himself. So I think that was really cool actually seeing like an episode of that here with parts of it. But then tragedy strikes as the whole place blows up, and then we see that moment that she's described in Avengers Age of Ultron, where the Stark bomb landed there and it just kept beeping and beeping but never detonated. So her parents are dead, but it's just Wanda and Pietro just sitting there watching this bomb. But what's really interesting here is because Agatha mentions something that she thinks that Wanda is actually the reason that bomb did not detonate. It was not a dud or anything. That would have detonated if Wanda hadn't done anything. But Wanda didn't know she did anything. But Wanda apparently has chaos magic. So somehow she was the one that she stopped that bomb from detonating. And then that also means that she had her powers before she was even exposed to the Mind Stone, which I'm going to talk about later with her destiny as the Scarlet Witch. So that was pretty crazy that she used a probability hex to stop the bomb. We thought it just happened on its own, but no, she was responsible for that. But then we do get the Hydra flashbacks where we see how she got her powers. She and Pietro volunteered. Would have been nice if we actually saw Aaron Taylor Johnson as Pietro, but no, of course, he didn't show up. So she's in this room, and then the stone from the scepter kind of flies toward her. And then she touches it, and it releases all of its energy. And we all assume that this would be the moment that she got her powers. But when she looks up, she sees the shadow, the silhouette of a figure with the crown thing, which is obviously the Scarlet Witch. So I feel like either the spirit of the Scarlet Witch was kind of trapped in the Mind Stone, has now been released onto Wanda, or maybe the Mind Stone is just showing her a vision of her future and her destiny as the Scarlet Witch, which was really, really cool. And I'm really excited to see her wear that costume in the next episode. So that's going to be really, really cool. But then we go to the Avengers compound, somewhere around the time of Captain America Civil War, probably a little before. And she's still watching sitcoms, even without her brother, even without her family. And then Vision comes in. And, nothing too big happens in the scene, but I do feel like this may actually be the moment where they kind of fall in love, because Vision gives her some advice, basically explains his situation of I'm a robot, so I don't know what loss is like, and I guess that intrigues her. And then she teaches him a little bit about sitcoms. So that was a nice little moment there between those two. But then this is where things get real crazy, because we flash to 2023, 2024-ish, before Spider-Man Far From Home, right after the blip. Wanda just came back to life after the final battle in Avengers Endgame. She goes to the Sword base. She goes to Sword HQ. And she wants to see Vision. So they let her in to see Vision. She meets Director Hayward, and he shows her Vision. But Vision is in pieces, and he's actually being dismantled. We thought Director Hayward was trying to bring him back online. But no, he's actually dismantling him, because, he is made of vibranium, so he is the biggest sentient weapon around. So it could be useful for parts, but it's kind of messed up. So Wanda just wants to bury him. She just wants a proper burial. She wants a funeral. And then Director Hayward's like, what? I'm not going to let you just bury $3 billion worth of vibranium in the ground. That'd be pointless. So she gets mad a little bit. So then she goes down there and she touches his forehead, and she says, "I can't feel him." And then that's when she walks out of there and she leaves, and she's like, "I'm done." So that's probably the moment that she realizes Vision is really gone and I can't bring him back, even though he's a robot. So she just goes off and she leaves, and she gets in her car and she drives away. And then we see that she drives all the way to Westview, New Jersey. This is before it became part of the Hex and everything. And we see versions of these characters we've been seeing in the sitcom. We see Phil, we see Mrs. Hart, we see the mailman. Obviously, that's not their actual names outside of the Hex, but we see those characters. So then she gets out at this lot that apparently she and Vision had bought. And there's a little note on the deed that says, it's a note from Vision that says, "to grow old in." And this is just so sad. They bought a house that they were going to share together, and they were going to grow up and build a family together, but now they can't do that. Or can they? Because this is when Wanda just gets really, really upset. And then I don't think she's really even in control right now. It kind of just happens. She just lets out all of this energy. And just all the emotions that she's feeling inside, all of the things that she's imagining, they just come to life. The house starts to be built. Everything turns black and white. And then Vision is recreated. And I think it's interesting how the energy coming from Wanda was all red and scarlet-y because she is the Scarlet Witch, but the power that you saw creating Vision was yellow like the Mind Stone. So maybe Wanda herself is a kind of a holder of the Mind Stone, even though the physical stone isn't in there. maybe the energy is all inside of her, which would be really cool to see. But then the tour of Wanda's life ends, as then she sees everything peeled back. She sees the cameras, she sees the lights and everything, she sees the whole set. And then Agatha now finally has what she wants. And now we see her with her full Agatha Harkness witch look. She looks amazing, super scary, super creepy. And she is holding the twins hostage right in her clutches outside on the street. And then this is where she drops that one line at the end of the episode where it explains it all. She says that Wanda was using chaos magic. All of this was created from chaos magic. Vision, the twins, Westview, and the Scarlet Witch, or Wanda, she says, Wanda, you're a legend, or like, you're a legend that I never thought was true, because you are the Scarlet Witch. And wow. So, I'm assuming that this means that, like, maybe in Salem, with that cabin of witches that Agatha was a part of, there was probably, like, some sort of prophecy of the Scarlet Witch that will be, like, the biggest, most powerful witch in existence, and one day she will come and, you know, do something, and maybe that something is break open the multiverse, or House of M, or something like that. But clearly, she has a destiny here as the Scarlet Witch, and I just love that episode. But then, wow, after that post-credit scene, you're just going to forget about that ending, because this was even, I thought it was already cool just seeing Agatha. Then you get that Scarlet Witch line, and now you get this post-credit scene with full-on white Vision. Wow. So, like I said, this is the post-credit scene, or mid-credit scene, where we see Agent Hayward. He has now completely rebuilt Vision's body, and he realizes that to bring him back online, they need power from the source. So, the source would be the Mind Stone. So, they see the drone that they originally sent in there, and then Wanda literally dragged out and threw at them. That still has Wanda's hex energy all over it. So, that is technically the power of the Mind Stone. So, that is able to power up Vision. And now Vision has come back online, but this is not regular Vision. No, this is white Vision. And wow, boom, white Vision. This was just so cool to see, because this is a thing from the comics where Vision, after he was resurrected, he was now white. And really the big problem with this is that when this happens in the comics, when he's white Vision, he doesn't have any of his memories, and he doesn't have any emotional feelings like he did before. So if that's what they're doing here, that's going to be really, really heartbreaking to see when Wanda does finally reunite with him, that he doesn't remember her, and he's basically going to have kind of a personality like Jarvis, where like he's basically an AI in a body now, so he can talk and everything, but he's just a computer. He does not feel anything, which makes sense because he is a robot, but that's just going to be incredibly sad. And everyone on this show, the cast, has always said that this show has an incredibly sad, heartbreaking ending, and a lot of us assumed that would be the death of Vision. I was hoping it would just be, oh, Vision turns into white Vision, he lost his feelings and memories and everything, just because I want to keep Vision around. He's one of my favorite characters. And now we're getting that already. Now we actually have two Visions. So we have the Westview Vision, which is still alive in Westview, but now we also have this white Vision. And at least one of them is going to die. And I feel like it's going to be that Westview Vision. That Vision is probably going to be trapped in Westview, along with the twins. They were created in Westview. They were created for Westview by this chaos magic. And probably they can't leave. So when Westview has to get destroyed, they're going to be sacrificed. And this final episode is just going to be completely insane, and I can't wait to see it. It's just so crazy to think that there's only one more episode of WandaVision left. In 1 week, WandaVision will be over, and it's going to be a crazy episode. Like I said, we're going to be getting Wanda in her full MCU Scarlet Witch outfit. We're getting an Agatha versus Scarlet Witch battle. We're getting two Visions, white Vision. All of these questions are going to be answered, of course, more Jimmy Woo and Darcy, because can't wait for that. But another crazy, awesome episode of WandaVision. This show is so good. There's a reason this is the #1 TV show in the world. I absolutely love it. But guys, let me know down in the comments below, what did you think about WandaVision episode 8? Let me know all your thoughts and theories on this, all your theories for the final episode, and also stay tuned for my final episode of Who Dat Devil coming this